Recently, we've been seeing headlines indicating that the United States is eyeing greater access to Philippine military bases. Top-ranking officials from both countries have been meeting and discussing this possibility, including additional Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement or EDCA sites. But this isn't just a casual glance across the ocean. It's part of a more comprehensive strategy. The backdrop to this is the Philippines' concern over increased activity in the West Philippine Sea, especially from China. In recent times, there's been a noticeable uptick in military operations by foreign powers in the area, and the Philippine government is growing more and more anxious. Now, what's on everyone's mind is why the US and why now? The first and straightforward reason is geopolitics. The US aims to counter China's increasing influence in the Asia-Pacific region. They're not just doing this with the Philippines, but have also been strengthening ties with other countries like Taiwan, Japan, and South Korea. The second reason is a little more nuanced but still vital: trade. The South China Sea is one of the busiest maritime routes, which means that ensuring stability in the region safeguards economic interests. To give you an idea of the numbers, more than $3 trillion worth of trade passes through the area annually. One can't talk about increased US military presence in the Philippines without diving into the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, commonly known as EDCA. The agreement, initially signed in 2014, got a new lease on life in recent years, adapting to modern geopolitical challenges. Through EDCA, the United States is not only seeking access, but in some instances is considering building facilities within Philippine military bases. Why does this matter? The facilities aren't just about having a place to park aircraft or dock ships. These locations can act as hubs for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance activities. They can also store equipment that can be rapidly deployed in emergency situations. It's a setup that allows both countries to be more agile in their military operations, which is a considerable advantage in an age where information travels fast, and threats can materialize quickly. Interestingly, a Reuters article revealed that the Philippines has disclosed locations for 4 new strategic sites under the EDCA. This signifies a broadening of US access in different parts of the Philippines, giving the United States a wider scope to operate. It's also an affirmation that the partnership is not just ceremonial, but has real, tangible components that will have direct effects on the ground. But as much as this agreement has strategic advantages, it also has its critics. Some Filipinos question the wisdom of allowing another country to establish a military presence on Philippine soil, raising issues about sovereignty. On the flip side, US taxpayers might question why resources are being poured into a country thousands of miles away. However, the two governments have emphasized the mutual benefits, underlining that this isn't a matter of one nation doing another a favor, but a partnership where both have something substantial to gain. Amidst this, it's crucial to keep in mind that agreements like EDCA don't happen in a vacuum. They have to be approved by the legislative bodies of both countries, and they're subject to the push and pull of internal politics. For example, the Philippine Senate has had its eye on the situation, and debates on the issue have been heated to say the least. Similarly, in the US, any significant changes or allocations of resources have to pass through a congressional review, which opens another avenue for discussions and possibly delays. So why is this increased military presence really a big deal? To answer that question, we have to step back and look at the larger geopolitical picture. The Asia-Pacific region, and specifically the South China Sea, is a hotbed of geopolitical interests, and the stakes are high. This region is not just about the Philippines and the US. It also involves other key players like China, Taiwan, and ASEAN countries. The Philippines' strategic location makes it a crucial piece in the geopolitical puzzle. Increasing the US military presence in the Philippines indirectly affects the balance of power in the region, specifically concerning China. According to a report from the Philippine Star, the Philippine military is concerned about the increased swarming of Chinese vessels in the West Philippine Sea. While the Philippines is strengthening its military cooperation with the United States, China has been gradually expanding its presence and building artificial islands that serve as military outposts. This dynamic positions the Philippines as a linchpin in the US strategy to counter China's growing influence in the South China Sea. It's not just about defending Philippine sovereignty. It's also about maintaining freedom of navigation in international waters and ensuring that no single power monopolizes critical sea lanes. These lanes are not just essential for military strategy, they're also crucial for global trade. According to statistics from the World Shipping Council, an estimated $3.37 trillion worth of goods passed through the South China Sea in 2016, which makes safeguarding these routes vital for the global economy. But it's not just a China-US issue. ASEAN countries are also critical stakeholders in the evolving dynamics. CNN Philippines reported that the West Philippine Sea issue was a primary topic at the ASEAN summit. Countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia also have their claims and interests in the region, which adds another layer of complexity to the matter. The US increased military presence could act as a stabilizing force, or it could raise tensions, depending on how it's managed and how transparent the involved parties are in their intentions and actions. This intricate web of geopolitical interests and strategic locations makes the increased US military presence in the Philippines more than just a bilateral issue. It has ripple effects that go beyond the borders of the two countries and influences the balance of power in a region that is quickly becoming the center of global attention. Hence, understanding the depth and breadth of this move is essential not just for policymakers, but also for anyone interested in global politics and security. While geopolitics and military strategy are integral to the discussion, we can't ignore the ethical and moral aspects that come with an increased US military presence in the Philippines. After all, the military isn't an abstract concept. It involves real people, both in the uniforms and in the communities where these bases are located. First, let's talk about the Filipino population. The presence of foreign troops has always been a sensitive issue for the Philippines, a country that once was an American colony. Historical scars from the colonial era still influence public opinion. According to a report by BNR News, there are mixed feelings among the locals about the increasing number of American bases. While some see it as a necessary step for national security, others are concerned about issues like environmental degradation and the social impact, such as increased crime rates or inequality. Then there are the questions about sovereignty. The Philippines is a sovereign nation, and inviting a foreign power to establish a military presence is not a simple yes or no decision. It comes with strings attached. Many Filipinos question whether their government is ceding too much control to a foreign entity. Another ethical consideration is the impact on regional peace. Will the increased US presence provoke other nations, specifically China, leading to an escalation of conflicts? According to Reuters, the Philippines has revealed the locations of 4 new strategic sites for US military use. The transparency is good for accountability, but could also serve as a provocation for those who oppose this collaboration. Lastly, the ethical drama also extends to the United States. Is it right for the US to expand its military reach in this manner? The American people and policymakers must consider whether such a strategy aligns with the country's long-term goals and values. Does it serve as a deterrent strategy against political aggressors? Or does it make the US an aggressor in the eyes of others? What we're looking at here is a balancing act. Both nations need to weigh the advantages and disadvantages of an increased US military presence in the Philippines. The Philippines, while benefiting from military support, needs to ensure that this alliance doesn't compromise its sovereignty or independence. Similarly, the US has to balance its interests in countering China's rise and maintaining its influence in Southeast Asia with the costs and political implications back home. So the question, should the US actually increase its military presence in the Philippines, isn't easily answered. It requires careful consideration from both countries and their citizens. But one thing is clear. The decision, whichever way it goes, will have long-lasting impacts on the regional dynamics, international relations, and the future of US-Philippine partnership. But anyway, do let us know what you think. Thanks for watching.